Hello, how are you all today? Welcome back to today's channel. Hi guys, how are you all today? Welcome back to my channel. Now in today's video I will be answering all of your questions about getting into a good university in the UK. For the record, I am in King's College London. I'm studying MA Global Media Industries and I've posted about that on Instagram, and I do a lot of vlogs wherein I take you through my day, yada yada yada, and how my life looks basically in London. So I would love for you guys to subscribe to the channel if you're new over here. And today is a different setup for a change, and I'm wearing my PJs. I got these new PJs on the Black Friday sale, and I will be doing a sale haul as well. So if you're new here, I also do a lot of haul videos, mostly fashion hauls, so make sure that you're sticking around if you're interested in something like that. But today what I'm going to do is, I have my tub of ice cream, I have a spoon, I'm going to eat ice cream, and this is actually frozen right now. I got this yesterday, but I wanted to make this like a very nice, very like casual, raw chit chat vibe, and I didn't plan this video. I was just going through my community post and I realized long back I'd asked if you guys had any questions about studying in the UK, and so many of you had questions, so I thought, you know what, high time, let's just film this video and answer your questions. I was supposed to film this video tomorrow morning or day after morning, but gotta do what you gotta do. One reason why I really wanted to film this video was because a lot of people think that, you know, getting to where I am right now is difficult, or some people think it's very easy. So just to clear all of those misconceptions, it's neither very difficult nor is it too easy. If I do miss out on any questions, make sure you comment down below and let me know whatever questions you guys have. This video might be long, so I will try to add timestamps in the description box below. So if you think you want to just go directly to that part of the video, just timestamps are right there. I have my community post open right over here, and that's when I asked you any and all questions you have about studying in the UK. Please drop them down, and we had a total of 166 questions on the community post, and then we had a lot of questions even on my Instagram. I did a question sticker, but most of the questions were the same, the doubts were the same, so I'll only be focusing on YouTube questions because I know for a fact that it's just repetitive and I don't want to like answer again and again saying the same thing. One thing before I start the video, one thing that I want to let you guys know is a lot of the questions were questions that were very basic in nature and were questions that I per se will not be able to answer. Those answers you will directly have to look up your course or whatever potential college's website, and they will be able to answer that the best, because I am not a counselor, I am not, you know, like whatever higher education facilitator. I'm just somebody who's studying the course I really wanted to study in the UK in my dream college, so in London, of course. So I'm just gonna answer everything from my own personal experience, and I hope that this video helps you out. Alright, so the first question we have is, we would love to know about the whole process from where it started and what are the things we need to take care of while looking for universities there. When is the right time to start looking and preparing for it? It's just a fairly simple process, and the websites of each university, all websites are just very self-explanatory. So you will, once you log onto the website, once you see how the process looks like, you will be able to chart out the whole process for yourself. But as for King's, and this is the case with most universities, it was that you had to basically fill up an application form, which was an extensive form. So that whole process takes about a month, because that also involves your SOP, which is your statement of purpose, your letter of recommendations from your teachers or your, you know, colleagues or your higher whatever authorities you've worked with. And that also involves your CV and all of those, you know, personal details you need to fill up. So that process kind of takes some time. I would recommend having sufficient time for your application. So I started 1 year before my course started. So course started this year in September. I started my application last year in November, and I knew that, you know, by Feb I'd get my acceptance or rejection letter from King's at least. So basically give sufficient time. I would recommend give enough time, start as early as possible, get done with your applications and put in enough time into the application. Don't do it in a hurried manner, because that's not what's going to get you into a good university. What are the things to keep in mind when choosing a college? Is there a specific website from where we can read and choose and apply for a college or university? I don't think there's any specific website that lets you choose a course and apply. Like, there's no centralized portal to do this. Each university has its own application criteria. Some universities, I know the A-listers usually have like an application fee. King's had it, LSE had it. So as per your question, there's no centralized portal that I know of, at least for master's courses. There are a lot of questions about student loans. I personally never applied for a student loan, so I'm not the right person to answer this question. I think it is a fairly simple process. Of course, you need to wait for some more time, but it's not as complicated as it seems, I guess. But then again, I would recommend consulting a counselor, because these people do this in and out, they know their job. And my counselor was free of charge, so they get a commission from the university if you get into that university. The service was free to me, so that kind of made the whole process way easier for me. So for student loans, I would definitely recommend consulting them. For the whole process, actually, it's just a free of cost service. Might as well go ahead with it. Apart from the visa, what else do we need? Well, a lot of things. You need your TB test, you need your passport documents, like the photocopies of your passport. When I came, India was on the amber list, so I needed a passenger locator form. So you need quite a few things, but those are all things you can get done later on. When you're starting the application, what you need to focus on is mostly your SOP, which is your statement of purpose, your LORs, and your CV, and an essay if required. So King's required me to write an essay of 1500 words on a given topic. So just that changes every year. You can have a look at the website. Everything's there. Literally every question I have is actually on the website of whichever university you want to go to. At least King's had everything on the website, so I never really was in that state ki ye hoga ki wo hoga, because I knew where this was headed, you know. Alright, next question we have is, I would like to ask you, what were your initial thoughts and plans when you decided to go abroad, and were there any difficulties you faced while going abroad? I would, on a personal level, tell you that time that I was sort of like, you know, around May was just a very difficult time for me on a personal level. So that was the only difficulty I faced. Apart from like you creating difficulties for yourself, there will be no external difficulties. Of course, COVID is one thing that's uncertain. So I mean, you know, with countries going in and out of the red list and the amber list and whatever, and these lists coming again and again, that's the only hindrance. But apart from that, everything else is just, you know, universities here know their job. They know how to do this because they do this every single year, and they deal with like so many international students. You'll be surprised. They know their job, so it's not difficult at all. And to answer your question about my initial thoughts and plans, when I decided I want to study abroad, was actually once I was done with school. I knew I wanted to get like an education that is way more structured. And Indian education, don't get me wrong, is amazing, like one of the finest educational systems that we have in the world. But just studying here, the systems and the processes and the university culture is just something that is, I can't compare it to anything. So for me, I knew that I wanted to study abroad at some point in my life, but mom told me not to go abroad for undergrad, but to go abroad for masters. And I am so thankful that she said that, because being on your own as an 18-year-old is very different than being here as, you know, a 21 or 22-year-old. I'm 22 at the moment, turning 23 on the 2nd of December. I don't know if this video goes up after that, but I hope it doesn't. Those are just two very different worlds, and when you're 21 or 22, you kind of have more of a real world experience. So by the time you're done with undergrad, you're more mature mentally and emotionally, and even financially if you're funding your own education. So it's a good idea to go for your masters if you're ever confused between undergrad or masters. That's my personal recommendation. The next question we have is, which entrance exams are accepted by colleges, college fees and other expenses, scholarship procedure, best courses that you would recommend? Wow, I love the fourth question, because this is something I really wanted to talk about. You need to do your own research about the courses you want to do, and you know, a lot of the times the questions that I get are so open-ended. Like, I'm doing global media industries and King's has like millions of courses, so it really depends on your interests. This is a question I will not be able to answer. And you know, even questions like, what is the fees going to be like, it's just there on the website. My fees, being in KCL, and somebody's fees who's doing a course like marketing in the same college, is going to be very different. And trust me, my friend's doing marketing and her fees is very different from mine. So it really depends on your course, it depends on your campus, it depends on your university. So a lot of different factors, and usually the fee structure, the criteria, everything is written on the website. The course that I'm doing is Master of Arts in Global Media Industries, and I did not have any entrance exam to give. I just had to write an essay which was 1500 words on a given topic, which took me about a month, because there's structuring, then there's formatting, then there's actually writing it down, then there's, paraphrasing, editing. So while I was editing the video, I realized I didn't mention IELTS at all. So you need to give the IELTS exam, and good universities generally have a cutoff for the IELTS score. The highest band you can get in your IELTS exam is 9, and I had an 8. King's had their cutoff set at 7. Most universities don't have a cutoff, but the good ones generally do have a cutoff. So just keep in mind your IELTS exam has to be done accordingly. It's a very simple exam. If you think you're confident in English, it shouldn't be an issue at all. If not, there are a lot of coaching classes or books that you can consult. That takes a lot of time. Your SOP takes time, LORs take time, so all of that process takes time. It's very different from the Indian system unless you're doing medicine or law or a course like that, which I am not personally capable of answering questions about. Other expenses, cost of living. This is a good question. I'll tell you one thing, okay? I don't know if this is the right place to say it or not, but I'm just going to let it out anyway. You need to show a certain amount in your bank while applying for the visa in India. So you need to show around 40 to 50 lakh in your bank account for them to know that you'll be able to sustain for 1 year in the UK. So if you're coming for undergrad, this amount might be even more. So just have that in mind. This is the amount you need to show, which means that they expect that you will be spending this amount during the course of your study. That is 1 year for a master's program, if it's a 1 year course, which most courses are, so you don't really need to worry about that. That is what they expect, and I'm telling you from personal experience, that is a good amount to have, because that is how much you're going to spend in 1 year, because London is very expensive. Anywhere outside of London is not as expensive. This is the heart of the country, and where I stay is basically the city center, so it's even more expensive. Depending on your budget, you can choose to sort of travel in every day to London. Just sort of do the permutation combination and see how you can manage to live a decent life in London, but just don't compromise. That's one thing I would say. A lot of people come here in hopes of, getting a job in London and doing this and that and having fun, and then they compromise because their needs and wants are exceeding their budget. So just work it out in your head and then make a decision. Then we have another question which is related to this one. It says, I'd like to know how you're finding the cost of living alone, and how costly would you say it is compared to living in a metro city in India? Well, again, thank you so much for such a sweet message that goes after that. London is expensive, I will be very honest. Rent is extremely expensive. What I'm paying for this one room, if you've seen my room tour, you'd be knowing the size. I'll just leave a link right here in case you've not seen it. The rent for one room per week, okay, is what somebody in, say, Delhi, in the heart of Delhi, would pay for a 2 BHK for a month. So that's how different it is. I hope you can sort of put it into perspective. So rent is freaking expensive, and that's only because this is London. If you go anywhere outside, it gets cheaper. And this video is in no way, I'm not trying to boast. I'm not trying to say that, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. None of that. The intention is to tell you that this is the reality of staying in London, and sign up for it only if you think it's going to be worth it for you. When it comes to travel is cheap. It's not as expensive as other things. The tube system is very efficient, really economically priced. Again, you can't really keep comparing everything to India, because Ubers, for example, are very expensive. The tube and the bus system is very affordable. At night or during the evenings even, Ubers can cost anything between 18 to 20 pounds, which is basically, say, 2,000 rupees for a 15-minute ride in a car. But that car is usually a Mercedes or an Audi or something like that. But that's not something that students usually take, unless, like, I've taken an Uber maybe 3 or 4 times ever since I've been here. So keeping that aside, other things are cheap. Food is economically priced, not very expensive. So it really depends. And again, you have to fit everything into your budget and see how you're going to go about it. Next question is, do London universities give you a lot of study pressure, and are you staying there alone or with relatives? Would love to see your daily vlogs and shopping vlogs. Well, I do make a lot of daily vlogs, and I hope you've checked them out. So make sure you're following, you're subscribed, and I would love for you to join the family. I will leave the link to my vlog right here so you can have a look at that as well. It shows you how an ideal typical day in London would look like for a student. And to answer your other question about whether they give a lot of study pressure, universities here know that you're here for 1 year, so they will not give you a lot of study pressure. For me, I have a hybrid model, which means half of my classes are online, half of them are offline, keeping in mind COVID, which I hope really changes into all face-to-face classes next semester. But for now it's a hybrid system, so again it leaves me with a lot of free time to do what I want to do and to study at my own pace. I have 3 modules this semester, which is basically 3 hours a week in-person classes, and next semester I think I have 4 modules. The whole ideology and the whole sort of culture of studying in a place like this, and maybe in other Western countries as well, is it's got more to do with self-study. It's got more to do with your own research and readings and lectures, rather than, like a teacher coming to class, taking attendance, and then giving you like homework and all that stuff. That's not the case here. And to answer the other question you had, I have relatives here. My Masi stays 20 minutes away from me, so I do visit her over the weekends. We have another question that asks about job permit and opportunities. You do get a work visa, a 2-year work visa for sure. So you have to take the graduate route if you get a job. But the thing is, with COVID and with, everybody having this sort of uncertainty in mind, jobs are not really guaranteed. In fact, it's like a lottery system. My friend put it really well the other day. So Vedant, shout out to you if you're watching this. Vedant Trusty was the one to tell me. He is also from King's, by the way. So I took a lot of guidance from him before applying to King's, and he really helped me out with that. So shout out to him. But he told me that it's kind of like a lottery system. If you get a job, you get a job. But most people don't end up getting a job. And I'm seeing that in person, like with my friends. So what I would recommend is, don't come here with the intention of getting a job and living in the UK, because it may or may not happen. Like every day I step into college, there's something new I learn, something new that my thought process is open to. So that's why I really wanted to do the course. I wasn't ever very hard and fast about getting a job, because I think once you start thinking about a job, that is when you start thinking that every action you take, how is it going to get you a job? And that's where I think the problem starts, because then your intention, your motive goes from the course to getting a job. And I know it's important to get it, but don't come here with the intention of getting a job. Okay, just enjoy your course, enjoy your time here, and learn as much as you can and be that independent person you want to be. So yes, of course, there are opportunities, and you also have the graduate route, which is the 2-year work visa, but everything, all of that basically comes into picture once you do get a job. So the first layer of it should be to bag a job, and you don't really have like campus placements, that the thing that they have in India, wo yahan pe exist nahi karta. You have networking fairs, and you need to reach out yourself if you want a job. So keep that in mind when you're applying as well. The next question is, did you take the help of any educational consultant, or you did the entire application yourself? I definitely took the help of a counselor. As I said, these counselors work free of charge, so they get a commission from the university if you get in. So make sure that you're getting yourself a counselor, because that's literally one thing that will make your life so much more easier. My counselor literally had like the entire thing charted out for me, which universities we're applying to, what documents I need. They helped me with the visa, they helped me with the appointment. So it's a good idea to just get yourself a counselor. Accommodation information and part-time jobs too. So if you watched my room tour, I already give a lot of information about the accommodations and types of rooms available in the first part of the video. If you haven't, I'll leave a link right here, so make sure you watch that. About part-time jobs, there are a lot of jobs that keep rolling out. A lot of sales assistant jobs as well, retail assistants and all. And a lot of cafes, a lot of restaurants will keep having like part-time job openings. So make sure you keep an eye out for them. I haven't really applied for a part-time job right now, because I'm doing YouTube and I'm doing college and I'm traveling and in the middle of all of this. Not at the moment. I do plan on maybe next year applying for a part-time job and seeing how that goes, but not at the moment. The next question is, how did you convince your parents about studying abroad? Because mostly parents think our safety, so they think about our safety and don't allow studying abroad. Well, okay, I come from Delhi, so the question of safety is just null and void right there. And I don't mean to offend anybody. I love Delhi as much as you do, but on a lighter note, I was never stopped from studying abroad. I was rather encouraged. My mom actually always, wanted me to be more independent. She always wanted me to have this sort of experience in life. My dad studied from Cardiff himself, so it's just sort of like I was never stopped from studying abroad. I was rather encouraged to do this. The only thing my mom said was go for your master's and not undergrad, because you're still like sort of naive, you don't know the world really well. And I'm glad she said that, because that's so true. And as I said, 18 versus 21, big difference. So for me, it was always like a yes thing to do. It was never like, it was just something in my mind. It was just something I knew I had to do. And my grandparents, my nana nani, were always supportive of it. My nani is actually like the most supportive person on earth. She'll always say, you want to do it, you do it. Even my dad's side of the family, everybody just really encourages education and studying because they know that it's like the base of whatever you do ahead in life. So that's just how things panned out, and I'm glad they did. If you're worried about how to convince your parents, tell them that this is important for your growth, and the more you're in that protective shell, the harder it is for you to sort of get out of it and grow. And if you don't do this now, when are you going to do it? Just know that whenever it's too scary to jump, that's the exact time you need to jump. So that's what's going to get you that growth. We have the last question for today. We love you, Sana, and we are very proud of you. My whole friends group follows you, and we will be glad to know the details of the course you chose and how did it come to your mind that you should go for it. I first selected an area that I wanted to study. Then I shortlisted colleges, and then I shortlisted the final exact course that I wanted to do. So for your masters, I think it's very important. Like for undergrad, this is what my mom told me. For undergrad, focus on the course. For masters, focus on the college. And now this is again a controversial topic. It's a slippery slope, but I agree to what she said. And for me, it actually went in such a way that the course and the college both sort of were great. So I just I got lucky there. But when I was applying, I looked for the top media colleges in the UK, and I knew in my head I just wanted it to be London because other towns are great, other cities are great, but London is it's London. Okay, you can never go wrong with London. In my heart, I knew it had to be London, but I still searched for the top media colleges just because even in London there are B grade schools, and I didn't want to go to those. I was always into the A-listers and everything. So I applied to LSE, to King's. I also applied to Leeds, to Cardiff, and to Huddersfield. Once I saw that these are the top colleges for the kind of course that I want to do, I sat and researched through these colleges and saw what kind of media courses are they offering in particular. The only thing that I want you to know at this point is that a lot of universities will have similar courses with a different title of the course. Basically, University A, for example, will have a course on ad and design, and University B will have a course on ad and marketing, and they're going to be fairly similar in the course structure but just a different name. So make sure that you're reading through the course structure as well. I made a list of my top schools, my dream universities, average schools B graders, and then the safety schools, which are kahin aur nahi mila to ye hain. But I knew in my head, had it been the B graders or the C graders, I wouldn't have come to London, I wouldn't have come to UK. It was only for the A graders. So LSE was there, King's was there, and I knew that in my head. I knew it just global media industries was the course that I really wanted to do. GMI was a course that was just this had to be it. So I worked really, really hard on the application and the essay, and that's how I kind of narrowed it down from the university to the course to the application, city, keeping all of that in mind. That's how I finalized on this course, which is my dream course in my dream university in my dream city. It all just sort of worked like that. And I know I said that was the last question, but this question is really interesting. It is, I really need to know how to get into such a prime university across the world when I just scored 70 to 75% in my bachelor's course in an Indian university. The thing is, the good thing and the bad thing, I'll tell you both. So the bad thing, of course, is that it is kind of hard to get in knowing that you're competing with others who sometimes have a 90 or a 95. But the good thing is, universities here don't really care about marks. Instead, they really focus on other parts of your application, like your essay, your SOPs, your LORs, your CV, what other courses have you done, and certifications. So when I prepared my CV, I made sure whatever courses I did, and I did a bunch of them. You can check on my LinkedIn I don't know if it's public or not, but if it is, I've listed all the courses there. So I put those in my CV, and I think those courses gave me an edge over others. You kind of need to build your brand image and present it to the university, and then they see if you're a good fit for their brand. So it's kind of like a deal here, which I don't want to put in those words, but they basically see if you are there where their university is, and if you are, that's when you get into the college. So you have to match their reputation, basically. I even chose the exact color of the King's logo, the red color. I chose the same and I put it in my CV on the side, just because I wanted them to feel like I belong there. And that's how it kind of happened. So don't worry about the marks, because there are a lot of other things that your application would include, and that's what kind of makes it more holistic than just the Indian way of, for example, DU. I'm not even going to say anything else about that, because I hate that way of marking. I hate that way of going ahead. I love this way of getting a child into a university and making sure that they're the right fit for the university and vice versa. So that's about it. Those were all the questions I will be answering for today. I'm now going to eat my ice cream, which has kind of melted entirely. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any more questions, leave them down below. I do plan on doing a lot more of these sit-down videos and casual videos. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and leave your comments down below. Just I hope this video in some way helped you or inspired you to take the right steps, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I also will be answering a lot of your other questions in other videos. One last thing before I leave, I do go live on Instagram very often, and I also have a lot of chit chats over there. I answer a lot of your questions on Instagram, so make sure that you're following me over there and stick around for the next live session. I'm going to see you guys next time. Till then, bye bye.